Hi guys, this is Khushbu and welcome to Algorithms Made Easy. In this video, we'll see the question Unique Paths Part 2. The question states that a robot is situated at the top left corner of the grid and he can move either in downwards direction or the right direction at any given point in time. The robot is trying to reach the bottom right corner of the grid, which is marked as finish. Now consider if some obstacles are added to the grid, how many unique paths would there be? An obstacle in space is marked as 1 in the given grid and 0 is marked as a free grid. Given this example and we can only travel in right and down direction, we would be able to take this path and this particular path to reach to the end position, and so that gives you two unique paths. For this particular example, you can travel only in this direction or this path, and so there is only one unique path. Now why can't you travel here? Because there is an obstacle and so you cannot travel over here. So there is a part 1 for this question which also says that find how many possible unique paths are there if you have a robot that is in the top left corner and you need to reach the bottom right corner. But in this example, the only thing that is not there is the obstacles. So we already have a video on this particular problem. I'll suggest you guys to go and check it out and you'll get a basic understanding of how we are going to reach this particular star or the finish line. Now coming back to this example, looking at this at the first glance, we would say that it is a depth first search or a DFS problem wherein I'll need to go into the depth of the path that I can travel, and if I can reach the last point, I'll add 1 to it that okay, this path is going to the finish line, and by doing that in all the possible directions for all the cells I can reach, I'll be finding out the paths that reach to this particular finish point, and adding them up I'll get my result. So let's see how we can do it using DFS. Firstly, we'll see the recursive solution, that is a bottom up solution, and then we'll go on to the iterative one, that is the top down approach for this problem. So I have taken a 4x4 grid and these are the obstacles and this is the finish point. My robot is placed at top left corner. All the possible paths for this particular grid are shown by the arrows over here, and so we can see that there are only 4 possible paths. Now how do you get these paths? From a given point you can only move in right and down direction, which means you can only go to r, c plus 1 and r plus 1, c, considering r is the row and c is the column. So you'll go on recursively calling your function on these two directions and see whether you can reach the finish line. So now there comes two conditions. If you can reach the finish line, you'll be adding 1 to the result, that this was a unique path. And second is the exit conditions. You will be exiting only when you are going out of bounds of this particular grid or if you are encountering a obstacle. So those would be your exit conditions, wherein you will be sure that you cannot go any further in this particular direction and you can return that this is unreachable. So let's go and see how we can write the solution for this particular approach. So I'll be taking a variable that will give me the sum of the paths. That would initially be 0. And now over here I'll call my DFS on the grid. Let's change this to grid and my starting coordinates. Finally, I can just return the paths that I have found. Now let's write down the DFS function. So it's going to be a void function which will take the grid and the row and column coordinates. The first thing that I am going to write down is the exit condition. So this is my exit condition where I am stating that if my row and column are reaching out of the bounds or if the grid value is an obstacle, then I'll just be returning from this function. After that, I'll check if my current row column is the bottom right row column or not. So if my row has come to grid.length minus 1 and my column has come to grid of 0.length minus 1, That means I am at the finish point. So at this point, I'll be doing paths plus plus. That is, I have found one unique path and then I can simply return. Otherwise, I'll call my DFS on right and down directions. And that's it. That's our basic DFS. But if you submit this, this would be giving you a TLE as you have n row into column size of matrix, and for each one you are having 2 paths. So the time complexity becomes 2 raised to row cross column, and that would give you a TLE. So what you can do here is you can use memoization. So for memoization, we'll be using a DP array that would be of length m cross n, and we would be storing the intermediate results in it. So let's take a DP array of the same size as that of grid. Initially, to mark a particular cell as not visited, we'll be filling all the values in this DP with -1. And finally, we'll call DFS on this grid, and with this, what I'm going to return at the end would be the last cell of the grid. And so, in this approach, I would not need the path. Since I have erased this path, I'll also have to return the result from this DFS function, and so I write integer as my return path. Now, in the exit condition that we were having, we'll return 0, and in this we'll be returning 1, and the paths are not used. Now, before calling the DFS, I'll check whether I'm having a positive result in this DP array or not. So if DP array of row column is greater than -1, I'll simply return that data and not calculate it again, and then my DP value of row call would be set to the addition of the paths from right and bottom. So I'll use this DFS over here, and the addition of both of these would be my answer that I'll be storing in my DP array. Finally, I can return the DP of row and call. And over here, instead of returning this path, I'll be returning the answer from this recursive call. So that's it. Let's try to run this, and it's giving a perfect result. Let's submit this, and it got submitted. So the time complexity over here reduces to O of m cross n, and the space complexity is m cross n for the DP array that we have taken for memoization. Now, this was a bottom-up approach. Now, let's see how we can do it iteratively by using a top-down approach. So, as we saw that from a particular point, we can go in these directions. So, when I am at these points, I'll be coming at these points from the direction that is left to it or that is top of it. So I can simply fill these with the number of paths that I can come here from. So we can say that the rows and the columns would be filled with ones, because I can simply travel right to reach these particular points or down to reach these particular points. Other than that, if I am at a particular cell, then I can come from top or from left. So the result for this particular path would be the addition of the paths that I can reach here from, that is my top and my left. So that is going to be the result for this particular cell. Now when you fill this cell, you will get the result in your bottom right corner for how many unique paths are possible from the start point to the end. So for that, we'll be taking 1 in our starting grid if that is not an obstacle. If that is an obstacle, there is no way you can even start. So you return 0, which is your base condition in your code. Now, if you have an obstacle, what do? If you have an obstacle, you would not be going there and you will update that particular cell with 0, as there is no way you can reach this particular cell. So now let's go ahead and code this particular approach out. Let's have m, which is equal to grid.length, and n, which is equal to number of columns. Now we check the base condition that if the first cell or the starting cell is 1, then we just return 0 as there is no way possible. The next thing is to loop over our grid. In this particular approach, we'll not be using any other array and we'll only be updating our given grid. Over here, we'll be having conditions for first row and first column and for all the other cells. So how do we know this is a first column or first row? We'll get I equal to 0 or j equal to 0 in that case. Now we need to see the conditions wherein we can fill 1 or 0. The cell would be marked 0 or unreachable only if its previous cell was an obstacle or if current cell is an obstacle. So let's write that condition. So this states that its previous cell was unreachable in case of previous row or previous column. Now we have used I not equal to 0 because we are doing a -1 in the coordinate, and to make sure that this I minus 1 does not go beyond the boundaries, we are taking I is not equal to 0, because if I would have been 0, I minus 1 would go -1 and that would give you an error. Similarly with j. So if this is the case, the value of current cell becomes 0, otherwise its value become 1. So that's the case for the 0th row and 0th column. Now what happens to all the other cells? So for the else part, we'll see whether this particular cell is an obstacle or not. If that is an obstacle, we change it to 0, otherwise we do the addition of its top and left cells. Finally, we can just return the bottom right corner. And let's run this code and we are getting a perfect result. Let's submit this, and it got submitted. So the time complexity over here is O of m cross n as we are going over the matrix, but the space complexity has now become O of 1 because we have not used any extra grid or any extra space. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it and I'll see you in another one. So till then, keep learning, keep coding.